Minasan, Akarinasai. Today I'll be recapping all of the important things that the girls in D4DJ did in 2023. Then a few ladies in RevStar and Assault Lily as well. Just some things to keep in mind before we start. I'm just one dude and I'm bound to have missed something important. Also, Twitter has limits on how far back you can go now, so some ladies I can't go all the way back to January. But also most of these girls don't do too much outside of the franchise, so I may be mentioning some very niche events or activities. One more thing, I'll cover some Bandori girls in this group section, but for the individual girls, I already covered Saichi, Aimi, Ayasa, Aiba, and Amane in the last video, so I won't be repeating those. And with that out of the way, let's get into it with some group things. Iri Suzuki and Masayoshi Oishi's Any Song cover show had Main, Natsumi Hirojima, Aina Aiba, Saichi, Ryochi, and Amane Shindo. Then Yuko Natsuyoshi, Momori, and Moipi were featured on the Crossing Any Song Covers YouTube channel. Aiba, Ayase Ito, Amane, and Hinata were all at the Koizuka event, though Ito and Sato's was in a different month than the other two. There was a stage play by the name of Towa Sugai featuring Ryochi, Moipi, Kagami, and Hotaru from RevStar. The Idol Master Cinderella Girls Shoutout Live had Teru, Karen Takahashi, and Miyu Tomita. There was a drama reading called Okaro Mondo having Ryochi, Haru-chan, and Ryona, as well as some other familiar faces. Then we got Hazuki Tada, Mei Okada, and Himari Hazuki becoming part of a group known as Love Divine for the Love 4 franchise. I'm not going to get into too much detail on the characters here since this is still new and basically only a stage play, but in their sections I will mention what the characters' names are. And I remember the Joyu project from like 2 years ago, a Wicked Warrior shoot having Hinata, Teru, and Maho. Well, recently we got part 2 having Haruki, Moipi, and Ayasa. That's 2/3 of Kukugumi now. And these next two things are like big group things. First up, Haru Moe, consisting of Moika and Haruki. If you didn't know, the two have a Seiyu unit together. They had just some normal live events, but also being at Anisama for the first time as a unit. They were also even on the live stream that revealed all of the performers. They had their second live tour, Good and Evil, mini album Villain's Empress, this album and the live being some of my favorites of the whole year. Then their fifth single, Love is a Potion, was the ending for I Shall Survive using potions. Some good gaming logic there. They also performed this over at Any Song Days. They also both had roles in the show, but I'll get there in their individual sections. And the final big thing here, the Hibiki Fest in August had basically everybody that you'd expect. Nishio, Chiharu, Aiba, Tono, Tsumugi, Watase, Fukugawa, Sasaki, Aimi, Shindo, and Ayasa, who are literally all in one or more of these franchises. But Hibiki also decided to make its own Seiyu unit, Anomalia Q, consisting of these 5 ladies. Low-key, the higher-ups just wanted to copy Muse when they did their Seiyu unit. But on a serious note, it is cool to have more units. It's more stuff for me to talk about, but like half of these girls already got stuff going on. They really should have used some of the lesser-known Hibiki girls for this one. But anyway, for this year, Hibiki will also have a big festival just next month. So on to the girls themselves, starting with our main character, Yuka Nishio. She was a guest over at the Aniroka Fest, did a collab with Kingly Mask, had a poker event, which she's actually very good at playing by the way, but she also had a really big fan event. She was a guest DJ at a show called Ikebukuro Is My Garden, also a singing event called Morningstar, and the Seiyu Trick or Treat event. And lastly, lots of Cardfight Vanguard and a few Weiss Schwarz events. Oh, and I guess there's also her Nico program with Ryochi. As for anime, she had a new season of Fruit of Evolution. This show is beyond bland, but her character is a sadist, and hearing Nishio act like this is, well, thank you for casting her. Karen Kagami graduated from university. She had seasons 2 and 3 of Cardfight Vanguard Will Dress, and she reprised her role in the Nijigasaki OVA, and also joined as Erlane. I'm pretty sure she is voicing this character in both languages, since that is kind of her gimmick now. She also became part of a project known as Back to the Idol. She's in a group known as Silent Queen, portraying the one on the left. They released 2 singles, First Promise and Queen's Road, and there was also Queen's Halloween Party and Silent White Christmas events. Then she had a reading drama called Oasis, a stage for the Mayholic Theater, with dialogues Ayaka Takamura actually playing the same role as her, but on a different day. She had a full live stream in English for D4DJ, but also appeared on the English podcast Cat with a Beard. I wonder if they'll ever get her on Trash Taste. That'd be pretty cool. She was a guest over at the DJ Time Club a few times, the Gekki Rock Loudest Rock Party. She was going to be at the Any Rave Fest, but had to cancel due to getting sick. And finally, lots of cardfight events. Get used to hearing this, a majority of the girls are used as promotional material, so guys actually show up to these events, though I will try to cut some of them out. Then as for this year, well, she's actually already been at another Gekki Rock Party event. Next up is Haruka Mamara. She left Ace Crew and went freelance. Some months later, she started a website and a fan club titled With Haruka. For her birthday event, she had 3 different shows, all on the same day. She didn't have any new Assault Lily plays herself, but she was a host on the radio program quite a few times. She was part of the Voice in a Box event, having like 6 different volumes of it, in a stage called Project Amithos and Little Match Girl. Actually, there were a few different stages that I really just couldn't find any information on, since her Twitter handles are very unreliable and the translation button usually helps, but in these cases, not so much. But she was on the live stream hosted by some of the girls from Ophelia Saga. She had a fashion collab with Kingly Mask and released a full-on Gravure DVD. Like I said in the last one about Ayase Ito, you always gotta watch out for the short ones as they are usually packing heat. It's actually really funny because they even voice the same type of character. Anyway, for this year, towards the end of February, she will be in the new Assault Lily play on Day 2, the daytime performance. Maiko Irie did some modeling for Geki Rock, though it was in collaboration with D4DJ, so it was technically Ray doing the modeling. She did some gaming, playing Monster Strike over on the Monster Gaming YouTube channel. She's part of that game, by the way, in case you didn't know. There was a reading drama called Rodoko Anahoshi, and that's about it for her. Her year was mostly old D4DJ and piano videos. Pretty sure she got COVID at some point too. Big F. So, Peaky time, just to remember that Aimee was in the last video, so she won't be in this one. But even though Moipi was in the Love Live recap, I will include her here since it is a completely different company. Reo Karachi was part of the Sanriku event. Fellow agency member Meguchi was here as well. With Moishi, she was on this horse betting livestream, was a guest DJ at the Geki Rock Loud Rock Party event, then with the same company had a Halloween event, and a fashion collab with them as well. Also a fashion collab with Kango Company. She started a fan club, Love and Bloom, had a birthday event called Lemon, and was at the Tokyo Call Comedy Purple event. No new anime, but she did voice this titular character for a Switch game, Spiral Princess Super Hair Machina. Then this little cutie here in a mobile rhythm game, Fan Pop Rhythm Stage. Also this character in a series called Utadori, portraying her in live action as well and having a first live show with them. For this year, she'll be in a movie called Omoroke, a spin-off to Yoru Yuri. Miyu Takagi got her driver's license. She had a birthday event, having Sumo as a guest on day 1 and Nanami on day 2. She had a Cinderella Night event with her duo unit Kokori. Then over at the Tokyo 6 franchise, not to be confused with Tokyo 7 Sisters, she had the Chifuyu Hanakuma special live. Low-key, this is literally just a third of Wake Up Girls. She debuted into In Another World with My Smartphone, Season 2, and in Part 2 of Dead Mount Deathplay. Also a new ship in Azure Lane, HMS Scylla. Miyu was a special guest DJ for the pre-show of Animax, the Freakstyle session, Anycon Fusion, the Kimchi Kura Volume 9 show in Korea, looking phenomenal. There was a second event for this as well, way later in the year. Then a big ol' event for Grand Blue Fantasy. She actually had a few of these and some radio shows for it as well. There was also a monthly show on NAC 5 with Miyu Kubota. Her fashion collab wasn't with any of the usuals, but a company called True Self. But then the usual one for Geki Rock. As for her YouTube, she is somewhat active. This year was mostly Ender Lilies and a little bit of Zelda. And lastly, she got to shoot an actual gun, a Vector SMG to be exact. Gamer Takagi out here gaming IRL. Next up is Maika Koizumi. If you already watched the Love Live video, well, feel free to skip right on to Photon Maiden. But if not, she is one of the hardest working girls around, being at Anisama with Momori and Manatsu Murakami, doing a song as their in-universe idol group from Odd Taxi. I already mentioned all the Harumoe stuff, but with her subunit in Love Live Nijigasaki called Rebirth, they had their subunit live. Then Nijigasaki as a whole had a huge fan meet tour. YP was only at the Hokkaido show, which was actually the final one in the tour, and fairly recently they finished up their 6th live tour, which was really good, by the way. If you're not a fan of Love Live, well, okay. But I mean, you could give it a chance because you like Moipi, right? Anyway, if all the groups that she's already in wasn't enough, she joined a new one, Mixed Juice, produced by her agency, Muse Inc., giving us an EP with 5 songs, and a music video. She had a Liar Game stage play with a lot of other girls, but also a stage for Bakushu Genpei, and another called Gensho Ranpo. She was also part of a reading drama called Wara Igoe with many other ladies. She finally opened up an Instagram account, was a guest over at the Tokyo Sake Collection with alcoholic gremlin Maida. There was a big on-scene radio event featuring all of the girls with programs on the channel, but also there were some other live radio events too for Moipina's Botate Dinosaur. The two of them even won Best Creative Radio for creating fun with their listeners. Her first photo book, Mimi Yasumi, was released. She was literally built for modeling, but also a second mini book in collaboration with the Legenda fashion company. And just to mention the Toa Sugai thing again real quick, All the girls actually voice their characters in the game as well, and they look really cool. And lastly, for one of the My Piano Radio episodes, she cosplayed as Tomori Kusunoki. Other anime aside from D4DJ and Love Live include a role in the Nier Automata show, and the Surviving Using Potions anime. On to Photon Maiden, Hinata Sato. This woman just does not know how to relax. She was in a new play where she plays two characters, the role of Ichika Kashimura and Hatsumi. And I'm now realizing I did not write down what it was called, and I have absolutely no idea how to find it again, so that's a big L for me. I mean, I could find it again, but I'm already late as hell with this video, so we're just going to leave it at that. There was also a stage play called I'm Laughing, and that's incredibly ironic considering what I just said. I mean, at least that's what the translation was, so we'll just have to go with that. She was in a stage play for Kageki Shoujo, playing Sawa Sugomoto, who was voiced by Sumire Uesaka in the anime version, as well as being in one for Akiba Maid War. Damn, she looks great. There was a Romeo and Juliet drama reading, again, looking absolutely phenomenal. She was at the big Onsen Radio event, all of the Bodete dinosaur stuff, winning the award and whatnot, as I just mentioned with Moepi, but there was also a Project Sakai live show, and she even got to perform one time with Pretty Derby before the other shows got cancelled for the same reason that everything does over the last few years, which was really unfortunate and annoying because I know how excited she was for this, but luckily it wasn't fully cancelled, just postponed for a few weeks. And she did get to perform at one of the shows for their 5th live tour, as well as a big old stage play for them. She dubbed Nasreen for the Japanese dub of Assassin's Creed Mirage, her first ever dubbing of an overseas project, but she also joined Azur Lane as a Mary Celeste. Hinata along with Tomori went over to Anime Expo in LA and had a date over in Disneyland. She also joined the KG promotional gym. Every time she posted pictures of this, it gave me motivation from myself to pump some iron. And just a random thing here, last year Hinata binged all of One Piece, and then this year she crushed through all of Hunter x Hunter. One of my favorite ladies watching two of my favorite shows. Speaking of shows, her only new show wasn't really new, just another short series for Project Sakai. I'm actually really surprised that they don't have a full-on anime yet. Maybe one day, but for now, moving on from one of my favorite ladies to another one. Haruki Iwata, Milady, my number one. She transferred over to Fennec Fox, kind of a cool agency name. She was in a stage called Doll, the Liar Game Murder Mystery, also continuing her Collar Malice show from last year, and even a Chainsaw Man stage as Kobeni and Young Denji. She also had a Legenda photo book, and even a role in the new season of Eden Zero, also in the same Potions anime as Moepi. As for this year, she has the bowling anime Turkey with Ayase Ito and someone else I'll be mentioning in just a little bit. But before that, Risa Sumagi opened up a YouTube channel. She had her own card collection of photos of her. Seems this is becoming a common occurrence now for Seiyu, as well as a fashion collab with Geki Rock. And now let's get a little serious here. She left the Hibiki agency and had a divorce with her husband after only a year of marriage, saying that she wants to focus on her career of being a Seiyu. Fun fact, up until Sumu left Hibiki, that agency had a member in every single live performing band in Bang Dream, even the two new ones. Also not so fun fact, after she made this announcement, she got locked out of her Twitter and hasn't been able to get back in ever since. Big F. On a more positive note, she debuted into Masamune-kun's Revenge, and had a role in the short series Warrior at the Borderline Ultra Steel Ogre Gear. What a stupid name, but nice Triforce on the chest. She also joined the game Honkai 3rd, and was a guest MC over at the Tokyo Game Show. Then, since there's not too much else to say about her, she continued her Sumu Lady and Cookpad live streams. I will say though, I find it funny how Sumagi is a DJ in two different groups, but has never actually been at any DJ events. But then there's people like Nishio and Sakuragawa, and even Kohara and Karachi who are in the same band as her. Those girls out here having multiple events each year. Between that and her leaving her agency, it is very apparent that she is kinda sick of this music stuff and actually wants to be a traditional Seiyu. But anyway, that's just my opinion, perhaps I'm looking too much into it. Let's move on to the next girl. Kana Nanaki, stage plays for Akudo Kaigi, Fire Force, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, and the case study of Vanities. She is the pink-haired one, by the way. Then a musical for Moriarty the Patriot. Also, I think there was a new showing of the Naruto stage that she has been doing for a while now, and she is currently in a stage play called High Card. She also traveled over to the small European island of Malta. Pretty sure this was just a trip and not for business. And that's actually it for her. Her section will always be short since she is more of an actress rather than a Seiyu. And so unless it's with Photon Maiden or very unlikely with RevStar, she won't be at any festivals. Like I said, most of these girls don't do too much, so these next few are going to be very short. So on to Mermaid, Natsumi Hirojima released a trading card set of pictures mostly featuring her in a swimsuit. Bless the gods. She was at a Respect for Geeks event, Volume 5, a whole lot of biking events, and also did some golfing. Also on Knack 5's Run 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 radio show. Then over on her YouTube, she was very active, posting like 50 plus videos, lots of boobs and lots of bikes, since those are her two specialties. Ai Negishi opened up a fan club. Ai Castle released her third photo book, A Binding Love, was in a stage called Voiced 2023, and also one titled Calling Soul. She filmed a movie titled Runaway Wrestler that will come out in May of this year. She also showed off her training and getting buff for that role at the KG Promotional Gym. For those who don't know, Negishi and Hazuki Tanda used to have an online radio program together. I say used to because sadly that came to an end last year. Both of them are absolute dynamite. I don't know why you'd end something like that, but I'm sure they have their reasons. And finally, since there's not much else to say about her, enjoy her in a swimsuit. Mei Okada was in a stage called Armagia, playing Matsurika. Also a Mononoke stage based off the anime, not the Ghibli film. In Love Divine, as I mentioned earlier, with her character being Mogami, but also a pretty big thing, she was revealed to be the bass player for Bang Dream's Ave Mujika, and was in the Maigo anime. She was part of the Voice Corps Reading Poetrium with a couple of other familiar faces, and she had a bunch of new fan club events. Her fan club is May I Help You, but May spelt like her name. Whoever came up with that is pretty good at their job. And then for this year, she will have the Ave Mujika anime show. Final Mermaid, Himari Hazuki, her Love Divine character is Takebe. And even though the anime was in 2022, last year she still had some events to promote Teppen with most of the cast. She was the opening act for the Blaze Shinjuku event, even getting to meet the god tier band Hanabiye. Then she was in a play called Kaiju Story, love the way she looked here. But also a stage called Natalie and the Otsuna project, which has a lot of Seiyu in it, but I still don't even fully understand what it is. There was a dinosaur event called a Dino Alive, and lastly a small handful of Rebirth for You events. Not as many as most of the other girls though. Moving on to Rondo, or as the translations like to say, Rin Dance. Riona Kato is a host over on Ibaraki's Lucky FM radio. That's her home prefecture by the way, and she had many broadcasts over the year. Also some radio for Road 59, basically rotating between these two every week. And she also had a new stage play, well, an old one, but a new Kimono Friends stage. The first one in 4 years. And then participating in a bicycling event, Gravel Road Hack. Again in Ibaraki, actually doing this a few times after the summer, because during the summer would be absolutely insane. It is way too hot over there. As for another stage, she was in the Love for All stage, just not as an idol character like the other three DJ girls. Then there were some fan club events where she dressed up as a golfer, and finally she shared a picture of her cosplaying Homura from Maromagi back in 2014. She must have been like 18 here. Sunko had a Shinjuku music event. She was a guest DJ at one of the Geki Rock shows. Also a guest DJ at the Ikebukuro Is My Garden event, the Tsukiyume 17th anniversary event, the Kimchi Kura Volume 9 show with the other ladies. She didn't have that delicious outfit they had though, shockingly. And there was also just a bunch of smaller club things as well. She left the PPE agency, and speaking of delicious, her first photo book, Over, where she was just straight up naked for a third of it. She streamed on Twitch quite a few times, and as always, some new cosplays and lots of boobs. Bless her for always keeping our spirits high. Haruno Momono started performing live again at the Bushi Rock Fest after almost a full year of hiatus, and she's actually the least most active girl out of all the 6 main groups. So all she really had was a fashion collab with LTA. Most of her socials are just personal life and chilling with her dogs. Next up is Lyrical Lily with Hazuki Tanda, one of the most attractive ladies I've ever seen in my life. She was also in the Bang Dream Maigo anime, and like some of the other Bushi Road gals, she had the double seasons of Cardfight Vanguard Will Dress. As I said a couple minutes ago with Negishi, the radio program they had together ended this year. She did some modeling for Larme magazine. Don't think I've ever mentioned that one before. And there was also a fashion collab with LTA, which is pretty standard stuff. But she was even a guest over on Team Y's YouTube channel. Aside from joining the Love for All project as Okano, she also became part of the Armagia project as well. And another stage called Calling Soul. Looks like it was pretty cool. Lastly, posting some dancing clips to her Twitter X, and was fairly active on her TikTok account. On to Ruka Fukagawa. So I didn't mention this in the last one, but Amane along with Ruka here both graduated from high school last year. Jeez. Then Ruka and Watase had a photo book together sponsored by Seiyu Tomo Photo. They also have a Nico stream that broadcasts on the UDeal YouTube channel as well. Speaking of that, she actually started her own YouTube channel last year, also being part of the Otana project, a play for the Mayholic Theater Company, and a guest performer at the Calling Soul play. also being a guest over on Karachi and Nishio's Nico channel, and again with Nishio co-hosting a big Weiss Schwarz tournament. She voiced this demon girl in a game called Dislight, this cutie in Azure Lane, and like basically all the other young Hibiki girls, she is in this new Starry Monogatari series. Her character is on the right. Also, just to mention in case people don't know, Ruka is part of Revue Starlight as part of the Sigfeld Edel Juniors, and she had a few full-on plays over there last year. As for this year, she's got the Revue Starlight Sports Festival just next month. And now the final lady of the main 6 units, Yuzuki Watase. She was revealed to be the rhythm guitarist for Bang Dream's Ave Mujika, which of course also meant voicing in the Maigo anime, also being one of the girls that joined the new Hibiki Seiyu unit, then also being in the Otana project with our last little cutie, and again with Ruka being in the stage for the Mayholic Theater Company. The two really do work together a lot. But by herself, she had a reading drama called Listen Library. Then again with Ruka at the Tokyo Game Show for Weiss Schwarz. And with some other Hibiki girls, she was a guest on the TZ Game Lab stream. And finally for her, she continued her ring announcing over at the Stardom Wrestling promotion. For this year, she'll have the Ave Mujika first live at the end of this month, and also be in the new anime. So now let's move on to the supporting cast, kind of. These girls will probably be promoted to main cast by the end of the year, but we're going to start with Abyssmare, and specifically main. She went over to AFA Singapore, was at the Miyako Premium Live twice on the same day, let's go May. Also at an event called Bomber E and the Weiss Schwarz 15th anniversary. As for her own show, she had her birthday live, Black and White, shoutouts to some of the best Pokemon games, but also having a Christmas show. She had her 21st single, Lies Goes On, the opening for Liar Liar, doing lots of promotions for it, one being over on NAC 5 Fave 4, and another one at Gamers in Akiba. And then there's her weekly live stream on YouTube. This year will be her new album Prismverse, as well as a huge tour with the same name, and she's going to be at Animax as a special guest. Yuka Aisaka had a Princess Connect online stage show, being a special guest at some Gundam fighting tournament, actually having 2 of these throughout the year. Also some Ange Verge stuff, even one to celebrate its 10th anniversary, and attending the Space Shower Sweet Love Shower, but just as an audience member. Yuka had a stage for Seimei Demons, and she began to be a host on the Audi radio program on Tokyo FM, even having Main on as a guest to promote her new song. The Smashcore company made a digital clock with a built-in voice, like some Amazon Alexa stuff, and Yuka actually provided the voice so she can yell at you in the morning to wake your goofy ass up. As for anime, she actually had 2 roles in the Farming Life in Another World show, and this year she'll have Gushing Over Magical Girls. Heck yeah. Misuzu Yamada had a new season of Kuma Kuma Bear, while new shows include Classroom for Heroes, Reign of the 7 Spellblades, and the 100 Girlfriends show. And that was basically her whole year, advertising those and D4DJ stuff. But she was also the voice for a lead girl in some project known as Kokudal. Well, I guess she was a guest over on Kanan Takao's radio one time, and she even caught a shiny Pokemon. Gienna Tomomisumi had that Project Sakai short series that I mentioned before, along with a live event that I also already mentioned, which was their 3rd anniversary live, by the way. In the last video, I talked about Hina Suguta being in this fashion competition. Well, Gienna was also part of it, along with someone else I'll mention in the RevStar section. She joined a new franchise called Utadori, and like many others was in the Otana Project reading. She became part of a Seiyu monthly VR gaming channel, and had many live streams with her other Kamen Rider girls, also being a guest at the Tokyo Game Show. And lastly, over on her YouTube, she posted 8 song covers and had about 4 live streams where she hung out and chatted with everyone while doing a bit of gaming. So the final group, Unichord, starting off with their leader and producer, Kotori Koiwai. She had Nanjo as a guest on her YouTube channel for an ASMR stream, then later in the year having Aimi on as well. Well, actually she had a bunch of guests as the year went on, but yeah, I'll just mention these 2, and then I'll show these 2. And her channel even actually surpassed 100,000 subs. Give me some of that good energy, Kotori, please. She had roles in Farming Life in Another World and Legend of Heroes. She reprised her role in Goblin Slayer and voiced her idol in Idol Master Million Lives anime version. Speaking of that, she was at the Master of Idol Worlds, Million Live 9th Live. Million Live 10th Live had 3 of their 4 shows, Kotori being at all 3 of them, and then at the Love Live IMAS Ichigen Fest. As for other things, the Kimchi Kura Volume 9 show with Takagi, looking amazing as I said earlier, holy, was a guest over at the Comic VCat Virtual Market, the Ronpongi Night Jewel event, and then a bunch of DJ time stuff. And to end off, a drama reading called Kocho no Yume. Karin Takahashi, someone who rivals Haruki as my favorite in this whole franchise, had no new shows, all reprisals. Is that a word? Reprisals? Sounds like it. Anyway, she was in Gridman, Gunma-chan, and Dr. Stone. Was in the Sekikira stage play, a mobile game Witch Springs, also Elemental Story World, and Tacked Op. She attended a showing of the Chainsaw Man stage where fellow D4DJ and Assault Lily Seiyu Haruki portrays Kobeni, who Karin actually voices in the anime. Funny enough, they both portray this character who annoys the absolute heck out of me. And lastly, her weekly livestream on the Second Shot YouTube channel, also having a live event with the other girls on the channel. This year, she will be at the Assault Lily stage, Lily's Dreaming, next month. Akari Yura dressed up in a cosplay for Valentine's Day, and had a birthday event not long after. Like many others, she was in the Otana project, but she was dressed up way differently. And that's about it for her. She actually didn't post too much work stuff, mostly personal things. Chilling with her cats and many hangouts with Haruka Mamura as well as our next lady. Yuki Tema is part of a group called Smoothie. Well, I guess it's more like Smoothie. For the new Tokyo Mew Mew since 2021. They had a couple of lives and were guests at the Tokyo Soundtrack Festival, and a new season of the anime where she still voices the main character. Aside from that, she was added to the Tower of God mobile game, and of course, the Otana project. Normally I would have just mentioned this as a group thing, but everyone looks so different, so I really wanted to share all of their costumes. Plus, there was like 3 different versions of the event with different people each time. And finally for her, on Halloween, she had a great costume. This year, she'll be having the Turkey anime with Ayasa and Haruki. And that's it for D4DJ, but just to really briefly mention Hinako Umemura. She's part of Call of Artemis, by the way, a supporting group in case you're unaware. She came all the way over here to Canada, but specifically to Niagara Falls, which is literally the next city over from me. Low-key, I wanted to go over there just to maybe accidentally bump into her, but I didn't want to be that guy. Also, that involves leaving the house, and I do not like doing that. Moving on to Revue Starlight, I will go over 3 of the Kukugumi since I've already covered the other 6. Momoyo Koyama had Sound Orion's newest singles, Angel Ladder and Tentaizu, their 6th anniversary live as well as their first live tour, also being at the Nakano Any Era and Miyako Premium Live, as well as being at Animax Next Age, which is to promote the next generation of artists. Even though they have been around for 6 years, they are only now blowing up. But they were also actually at the regular Animax show too. Aside from all that, she was in a stage play for the anime Eiromakun, also Little Match Girl, and one for Akano Joho, which are not anime. And she was at the Tokyo Cold Comedy Purple show. This year, Sound Orion will be at the Animax Spring show. Maho Tomita did a photo shoot with Wedding Ainaka. Her alongside Haru-chan were guest speakers at the Doshisha University Animation Voice Research Group. And she had a stage play called Slapstick Brothers. Shame she doesn't do these as much as she used to. Also, would love to see a new grab from her as well. But I guess that's just me being thirsty. Anyway, she was also a guest with Moyo at Momori's event to celebrate 10 years in the business. And being at Aiba's birthday event dressed up as a cute blonde schoolgirl, I guess. Lastly, a fashion collab with Kitsan Me. Not sure if this company is new, but they were really pushing the Seiyu collabs this year. Speaking of that, Teru Ikuta also did some modeling for the same company, but also for Kingly Mask. She was at the Idol Master Cinderella Girls Shoutout Live, the Mass Love Idol Worlds, and Ichigen Fest. She was in a musical called Neo Doll, making Koko Hayashi simp for her, a stage called Sacrifice that has massive Harry Potter vibes, though she actually had to miss the first showing due to getting sick. Then she had the stage Akano Joho and Little Match Girl. If that sounds familiar, Momoyo was in both of them as well, also being part of the same Morning Star singing event with Nishio. Last up, having a role in the game Reverse 1999 and in the anime Otaku Elf. So that is it for Kukugumi, but I'm going to go over 3 bonus ladies real quick. Well, I say real quick, but this first lady is super busy. Azumiwaki, who though is not in Kukugumi, is a very popular Seiyu in Revue Starlight, so I'm going to cover her as a bonus. But since she is a very successful Seiyu, that does mean a fair amount of roles. New seasons of Tokyo Revengers, Fate Grand Order, Cinderella Girls, Pretty Derby, Kuma Kuma Bear, Girlfriend, and the My Next Life as a Villainess movie. New shows include the reincarnation of the Strongest Exorcist, Protocol Rain, Shangri-La Frontier, My One-Hit Kill Sister, The Cafe Terrace and Its Goddesses, Space Idol, 2 roles in Kingdoms of Ruin, and Kuma Kuma Bear again having a new role aside from the old one. Also debuting into Demon Slayer. Let's go. Having some live events for a few of these shows, like the Cafe Terrace anime, look how tiny she is, and even events for some older shows like Prima Doll with its amazing cast. Also being in the game Knights of Vita. She released her 5th single, Kimi to no Mirai, coupled with Invisible Stars, the lead track being the opening for the new season of Kuma Bear. She had her 2nd live Stay Beautiful, as well as the Voice of Symphonic event with 2 special guests from Love Live. She was at the Pretty Derby 5th event Go Beyond, being at all 4 days of it, right in the middle there, since she is the main character. Huge lineup at this one, also one of the best lives of the whole year. She was also with some of the girls at the FNS Fest towards the end of the year. Also being at the IMAS Cinderella Girls Kageyaki Yomatsuri, and that's actually it for IMAS. Crazy that she wasn't at the Ichigan Fest, I guess she was just too busy. Quick montage of photos incoming. Waki was on the BS11 television channel many times for the anime game program. She was a regular host there for 3.5 years, but at the end of September, she held her very last show with them. Also, since I have to mention Resident Evil, she was playing through RE5 this year. And to end her year, she got married to a non-industry man, making her 3 out of the 5 leads in Blend-S to do so. Literally all 3 happening in the same year, too. This year, she's got these 4 things lined up already, and she'll be at the Second Shot Festival in like a week or so. Then with Pretty Derby, she'll be at the Beyond the Dimension Festival, which I believe is next month. Hikaru Tono, because I have a really big crush on her and I want to talk about her. She debuted into Season 4 of Danmachi, also voiced in Kingdoms of Ruin, and this minor character to the right in Nagatoro, reprising her roles in Card Fight, Dyna Zenin, and Pretty Derby. As for games, she was in Cry Machina with her best friend Tsumugi. Also, this game has a really good rating and is available everywhere except for Xbox, so maybe check it out. But she also joined Grand Blue Fantasy as well as Dislight. Hikaru had a few Onsen Musume events, one to celebrate the 11th anniversary of Show by Rock, was in the same fashion challenge as Gianna, had some event with Nichika and Nanami where the theme was cat ears, heck yeah, but also a diner themed event too. Costumes are great. She was a guest at some card fight tournament, was at the Animax Festival with Pretty Derby, all 4 shows of their 5th live show as well. By the way, she's way on the bottom left there, next to Kaori Maeda. She even had her own solo dance section at one of these shows, and it was very great. Then she herself didn't have any fashion collabs, but with Pretty Derby she did, and she looked amazing. She was one of the members of the new Hibiki Seiyu unit, and she posted many dance clips to her Twitter and TikTok, usually having Hotoro no Moto with her. This year, she'll be the lead in a show called Studio Apartment, Good Lighting, Angel Included. It's her, she's the angel. I'm not talking about the character. So the last RevStar girl I'll be going over is Miyu Tomita, another very successful Seiyu. You might even consider her a prodigy. So a fair amount of anime, Farming Life in Another World, Endo and Kobayashi Live, Ayakashi Triangle, Kawaii Sugi Crisis, Reborn as a Vending Machine, Kamikatsu, Reborn to Master the Blade, Gundam The Witch from Mercury, Shangri-La, Reincarnated as a Slime, and the 100 Girlfriends show, with new seasons of Kuma Kuma Bear, Eminence in Shadow, and Konosuba. As for music, a digital single, Silent Beat, and she sang the opening for Data Life Season 4, then being the Japanese version of Murjana in Assassin's Creed Mirage, and in the game Toa Sugai, but unfortunately not the live version. Also being in Tact Op. Nice pose. As for big events, the Big Onsen Radio Show, Cinderella Girls Shadow Live, as well as the Ichigan Fest, but as a solo act, she was at the Future Notes Fest, the Miyako Premium Live. She had her 2nd fan event, coupled with a mini live, was a guest over on Kokona no Naka's Nico stream, 2 reading dramas that I've already mentioned a lot during these recaps, Wada Igoe and Kocho no Yume, and lastly, her monthly live streams with Aya Yamane on the Second Shot channel. This year, she will have her 2nd full album in the summer, but I don't think it has a title yet, also being at the Second Shot Fest. So on to the final section, with the Seiyu here for Assault Lily. Well, most of the main cast I've actually already covered, like Rimi-chan, Tsumugi, Iwata, and Tono. And then there's 2 that I'm not really familiar with, but the 2 that I am familiar with are Hikaru Akao, who got married to a music industry man. She voiced 2 sisters in 16-bit sensation Another Layer, then this little cutie in the Alice Gear game, and in the World Die Star game, also a newer game called Sword of Convalaria. She was at the Seaside New Year party, also being at the Spring Festa, did a play over at the Maholic Theater. There was an event called a Jaipo where she represented her character from Restage, and was at Aniplex Online to promote her show Atri, where she'll be voicing the titular character sometime this year. Also being at TZ Game Labs a few times, I assume for gaming. She debuted into D4DJ with the new Lyrical Lily stage play, hoping to see more of her with them. Then of course, fashion modeling for LTA, and I'm pretty sure Kingly Mask way earlier in the year. But finally with her, an amusement park date with Inori Minase. Twice. I wonder if Inosuke will ever actually perform live with Assault Lily. It would be nice to see her. But anyway, moving on to the final lady of the video, Yuko Natsuyoshi. She reprised her roles in Demon King Academy, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, and then debuted into Pretty Derby's Season 3. As for a foreign dub, she was Batgirl in this Batwheels show, then being in the Richie City Mahjong game. She was in the same event as Tono to celebrate the 11th anniversary of Show by Rock, since they are in the same band in that show. Also being at the Story of Song stage, the Maisen Music Festival, also being part of the same Pretty Derby fashion thing that Hikaru was in, being at only one of their 4 shows and some of the smaller events, this being her first year with the franchise and all. Her Shine Post group Tings held a live show, that's her in the back being silly. To rewind a little bit, in late 2022 she became part of a duo known as Arika, not to be confused with the game company, and they had their first and second live in 2023, as well as their first and second EP titled 1440 and Lens. She was at the Pony Canyon booth during Anime Japan for Demon Academy with her co-stars, but also to promote the show Utagawe wa Mille Fleurs. I'm 90% sure that's Robin's attack from One Piece, but okay. Anyway, this show will come out this year, and this seems to be a multimedia project as well, since the ladies have already made music videos. Oh, also she has this like pet lizard that she was hanging out with a lot. That's pretty cool. But with that, we have actually reached the ending, and the ending of all the recaps. I am finally free. I was going to write this little like gratitude speech, but honestly I don't know if I could find the right words. But just know I am thankful for everyone who tuned in, even just for one of the videos. Been working on them for like 3 months now, basically been my whole life since then. Totally worth it though, the best channel growth I've had possibly ever. So, please join me in the next one about a highly requested small gremlin who very much enjoys her alcohol. As always, I look forward to seeing you there.